It's the last full day of campaigning today. The final day of voting is tomorrow. Democrats banking on high-profile races, governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey, and the New York City mayoral race catching a lot of attention. CNN chief data correspondent Harry Enton is here. There's a real mixed bag here as far as ideologies go, where you've got, moderate candidate in Virginia and you've got a Democratic socialist in New York City. I guess the question is, how can they both be seen as bellwethers? I mean, the common denominator here is Donald Trump, and Democrats are on the precipice of delivering a huge blow to Donald Trump in his second term. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just look? Democrats lead all the key races. You go to New Jersey governor. That's really the only close one. Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat, up by 6 points. Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, up by 10. And Zohran Mamdani, up by 16 points in New York City. The bottom line is this. Yes, there are ideological differences between the Democrats, but the key common component is they are all going after Donald Trump. And all the Democrats lead, from New Jersey to Virginia to New York City. They all lead the Republican and independent opponents. How much is he impacting the cases? And never mind that they want to beat him in their minds. It's sort of like, hey, this is to show you that we can beat you. But how much is he affecting these? I mean, look, Donald Trump is a huge drag in all of these races. Look at his net popularity ratings. In New Jersey, he's 11 points underwater. Virginia, 14 points underwater. Not much of a big surprise in New York. He's 35 points underwater. And I will note nationally in my aggregate of polls, he's about 13 points underwater. In our CNN poll, he's way below that, which looks a lot like New Jersey, a lot like Virginia. So these races, in my mind, could be huge bellwethers going into next year to understanding how Donald Trump is impacting these races. He is a huge drag in across the board, New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City. Do these races tell us anything about the midterm as to what happens here and what might happen in the midterm? Yeah, okay. So, I was mentioning, of course, Donald Trump being a huge drag, right? He's at his second term lows, not just in our CNN poll, but across the different polls that we were looking at this weekend. And why is it that these races are so important? Well, go back through history, jump in that DeLorean. Look at what has happened when Democrats sweep New York City, New Jersey, and Virginia governor. They won the U.S. House the next year 5 out of 5 times in the last 90 years. You go all the way back to the FDR administration. So the bottom line is this. When Democrats do well in these off-year elections, when they sweep New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City, historically speaking, that means they go on to win the U.S. House of Representatives the next time around. And when we're in this national polarized environment and Donald Trump is as unpopular as he is, I think that history is likely to hold if, in fact, Democrats do sweep tomorrow, which at this point looks more likely than not. We will have to see. We also have some new polling numbers also that makes Democrats not look so good. So it's kind of like wondering whether this historic norm will stay as per usual. And that, my friend, is why we go 365 years to find out what happens next year. All right. Thank you so much, Harry. Thank you. Okay.
All right. They're talking about Virginia there. Many eyes are on that battle between Democrat Abigail Spanberger and Republican Winsome Earl-Sears. President Obama hit the campaign trail this weekend to try and give Spanberger a boost in this very final stretch.
Abigail's opponent does seem to care a lot about what Trump and his cronies are doing. Virginia, you don't need a governor who puts party and ideology ahead of the people she was elected to serve. You deserve a governor who will think for herself and work for you. You deserve a governor like Abigail Spanberger.
Joining me right now is Larry Sabato, the director for the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. It's great to see you. So we heard Harry Enton giving his very enthusiastic take, as he always does. Larry, what is the best possible outcome that you see for, let's just start, for the Democratic Party this week?
Well, I've had a little less coffee than Harry, so I would put it this way. Democrats are going to do well. They could have a sweep, at least of the top positions. That's very important. But the midterm elections are a year away. And in the Trump era, hundreds of things will happen in the next year that could affect how people evaluate him and how people evaluate the candidates running. But on the whole, Democrats desperately need this boost of enthusiasm and success. Nothing succeeds like success in politics and business. They have to start winning, and then people will feel better about them.
It is as basic as that sometimes. It truly is. Then best case scenario for Republicans come election day is?
The best case would be pulling off an upset in New Jersey and winning that governorship. And New Jersey, while still Democratic, has been moving more in the Republican direction. Maybe also picking off the Attorney General's post in Virginia. The Attorney General candidate for the Democrats has been involved in scandal. And so that is hurting him, and he will do worse than the other candidates on the statewide ballot, but we don't know whether it's bad enough to lose. And Proposition 50 in California, that's important because it sends a signal about the voters' view of redistricting. And if it's a big vote, some polls have had Proposition 50, which the Democrats favor, going over 60%. If that actually happens, I think it would also encourage Democrats for the coming year.
Yeah, and that then gets to kind of the eternal question always, which is how much of a bellwether is any race looking ahead at the next? How much can anyone, do you think, read into the results come tomorrow when they look towards the midterm election now 1 year away? As you said, 100+ things is going to happen in the next year.
Yeah, well, my rule, and I'm old, Kate, is it should tell you a lot until the Sunday shows, the next Sunday shows. You should have a great prediction gambit, everybody participating with very, very fixed suggestions about the future, and then you let it go as of Sunday, and then real events in the current day take over.
It's great to see you, Larry. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This morning, we're in that final countdown to Election Day, and in two closely watched races, the front runners are offering sharply different paths forward for Democrats. In the New York City race, I know you've heard a lot about this mayoral race. Zohran Mamdani has sprung to political stardom with his upstart campaign as a Democratic socialist, while in Virginia's governor's race, Abigail Spanberger, a former congresswoman and CIA officer, has laid out a much more moderate vision, even enlisting former President Obama in the last stretch of her campaign. CNN's Isaac Dovere joins us now. This is a major sort of identity test in some ways. I have to say, I was out this weekend, and the lines for early voting were insane. Like, they were the longest I've ever seen them here in New York.
Yeah, like there's a lot of excitement for Mamdani, clearly, but as I write in this piece that's up on our site right now, only in the Democratic Party, given the identity and existential crises that it's going through, could you have the two clear frontrunners going into races for tomorrow be Zohran Mamdani, as you described him, and Abigail Spanberger, as you described her. These are different people offering very different visions of what the future of the Democratic Party is. And I spent some time in Virginia on Friday, riding around on the bus with Abigail Spanberger, going to events that she was at, talking to her about it, and she was very clear that she thinks, and I should say a lot of other Democrats believe what she's saying, that the model that she's put forward in a state that is much more competitive as an incumbent Republican governor is more what the future of the Democratic Party writ large should look like. Even as Mamdani, we see these shots that have been going of him, this march across the Brooklyn Bridge, the energy and passion that he's excited. But one of the things that Spanberger said to me is that when I said to her, you don't have a proposal for government-run website, grocery stores on your website. And she said, that's because I couldn't pass it. And she said, when we talk about things that this Democratic Party is talking about, we have to not say, we tried it and it didn't work. She said to me, people believed you. Vulnerable people believed you. And that is something that Democrats need to watch out for, she said, in the immediate, as they're facing an emergency circumstance she sees with Donald Trump, and going into the long term when voters think about what Democrats have actually done for them.
Yeah, it's quite interesting when you look at this, because some people look at this, and I wonder if you do as well, is that New York is a singular place. It's got an interesting and different population than, say, somewhere in Virginia or somewhere in Florida. How do you sort of link the two?
Look, I mean, I was with Spanberger on Friday. I've been in New York City going around on Saturday and Sunday. I grew up here. Yeah. A lot of New Yorkers think about New York as the center of the universe. Yes. That is sometimes how things can feel with politics, but Virginia is a very different place. The country is a very different place overall than New York City is. And I've seen that as I've covered races all around the country, despite growing up about 20 blocks from this studio. And the question is, what what will appeal to voters that are maybe like New York City voters in some ways and maybe much more like Virginia voters in some ways. And whether it's passion that Mamdani is exciting or some of the policy ideas, that's the continuing conversation that the party's going to have coming out of these races.
He's actually, Mamdani is very much energizing the youth vote.
For sure.
We'll see if that's what happens in some of these other races as well. It's all very interesting, and it all begins tomorrow. Isaac, thank you so much. I know you're going to have a long couple of days. All right.